same track in the same paddock is the place they aim to be in the future, along with MotoGP.
Yep, obviously part of the Road to MotoGP program. We've obviously got the Red Bull rookies that started in 2008. That's the kind of first, and the FAMs of Repsol.
The sun is beginning to go down, the floodlights are on. It's still quite up high, but it's very, very hot in Qatar. The Losail International Circuit at blistering 30 degrees, ready to go with race 1, round 1 of the Asia Talent Cup in 2013. My name is Matt Dunn, alongside me is Fran Wild, and we'll be taking you through this race with all these hopeful stars of the future in Qatar today. Fran, you've been the one paying a lot of attention to what's been happening in the testing campaign and the pre-selection process, and also qualifying yesterday. Well, there's quite a lot of disparity in the field of qualifying, with Agung Fakhrul from Indonesia looking really hot on the pace.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting in qualifying today, earlier at Losail, because there'd been one key name at the top throughout a lot of pre-season, which is the returner, or the biggest returner from last year, which is Haruki Noguchi. And he'd had quite a good gap throughout testing and throughout, you know, the track action we'd seen so far. But in qualifying, it was a lot hotter, middle of the day, and he's actually third qualified. So he has hopefully got some competition for this. So we'll have to see how he goes on when the race actually gets underway. But yeah, it's been pretty interesting sessions so far. I think they've got a lot closer here. And yeah, there's some really tight gaps here, so there should be great racing in the classic Asia Talent Cup style. Absolutely.
Just looking at the qualifying times from earlier on today, you've got a whole host of 2-minute 14 laps set, which is obviously quite a bit off the pace of the Upper Moto3 World Championship, but the place where these guys all aspire to be somewhere in the future. And then just from 6th place down all the way to 12th, you do have a bunch of other riders in the 215 bracket. But racing is a different thing altogether. Their qualifying was very early this morning. Track temperature was already quite high. It doesn't tend to cool down that much here, although there tends to be a track temperature difference of around about 10 degrees first thing in the morning compared to the middle of the day. You can see on your screens right now the wind is absolutely savage out there, and that is going to be probably quite an issue for these young riders. Not quite so used to it just yet, I would have thought.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we just had MotoGP session. It's been affecting their top speed quite a lot, especially down the main straight. But these guys, very, very different machines, size, weight, etc., compared to the Premier Class Grand Prix riders. So yeah, it could be pretty interesting. It's pretty tricky on a little bike out there.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's going to definitely play into it, I think.
Looking into the distance, there's lots of sand all around. There was a sandstorm not just far away from the circuit during MotoGP FP3 just before this. There is Toshiki Senda from Japan getting ready to go, starting in 5th on the 2nd row. Will he be able to make it through? He was one of the riders, of course, in the 2014 bracket in qualifying. There'll be. I'm expecting some incredible racing right here. You get some of the best racing on the entire planet with these guys, because I tell you what, it's their first big tryout on the international stage. So let's see how they get on. This is Bill Van Erd, and he's had a difficult weekend.
Yeah, he did. I believe he was the cause of the red flag yesterday. Had a bit of a difficult start, but back out this morning. First time on the bike, 6.5, 7 seconds off the pace, and then straight back up in there. And by the end of qualifying, was in 6th. So really pretty incredible stuff. So I'm sure he'll be buoyed by that again going into the actual race with the points on the board.
Absolutely, and of course he is Australian, one of the 3 Australians who are here having qualified, ready to go racing today. That's what the Asia Talent Cup includes, and these guys, adrenaline will be pumping. We can't say they're overly experienced, so you just know their racing is going to be absolutely top-notch. Expect some incredible, maybe overly ambitious passes, and I'll tell you what, last year we had some unbelievable photo finishes and last corner moves, didn't we? Yeah, exactly. The Cup last year was decided pretty much out of the final corner at Sepang, even obviously it's been recambered, resurfaced still.
incredible down there. Dennis Onto, the reigning champion, he's now moved up to the FIM CV Repsol. He took the championship out of that final corner, and he didn't even realise it was that close. He couldn't do the maths quite quick enough in his head, and that big group of riders.
He's only young, Fran.
Well, you know, he only realised around halfway around the cooldown lap that he was the champion. And then obviously things got a little bit crazier then.
Yeah,
went from disappointment to pretty euphoric pretty quickly.
Saw on your screens earlier, that was Kaito Toba along the pit wall, former champion in the Asia Talent Cup. There is Jack Miller as we speak. Lots of riders very interested in the Asia Talent Cup, looking at these young riders, see who could be the talent of the future, but also, of course, actually quite a lot of the riders are interested to see the gap between the lights coming on and going out for race time. There is something very useful for them there. The engines are on. You can see the pit crews are exiting the grid, and the riders' revs are up, nerves rising to peak absolute tip top. They couldn't be any more nervous, all ready to go in this case. Number 22 there seems to have a little issue. Number 22, the poleman Agung Fakrul.
Yeah, not how you want to be starting your first ever race. Have to see what the problem is or what's gone wrong.
Poor fellow, he didn't need that, did he?
That's not going to help his nerves, yeah. Definitely not.
Help me out, help me out. Has he stalled it? Does he need to get it going?
Very
no, he's
possibly.
being taken off the grid. The poor... No, what a disaster for the poleman. First race, pole position. He's taken off the grid. He's going to be starting from pit lane.
That's definitely going to mess with his nerves even more if he's now going to be facing a fight back. We'll have to see.
Here we go on the warm-up lap. Number 7 taken off from Mario Aji, also from Indonesia. A lot of Indonesians this year in the
yeah, Aji's one of the rookies. Yeah, I think there's 5 Indonesians there. After Japan, they've got the most riders on the grid, which is obviously really good. It's huge in Indonesia motorcycle racing. But he was really impressive in testing. He was second quickest. So behind Noguchi, obviously a lot more experience in the ATC. And yeah, second and third in testing was Aji and Nishimura, Sho Nishimura of Japan. Apologies.
How's your pronunciation going, Fran? All right.
It's going great. I'm really on top of it. But yeah, they were really, really close in testing, only hundredths, thousandths apart. So we'll have to see. That seems to have changed a little bit. Qatar seems to have shuffled the order quite a lot compared to Sepang. But I mean, one key thing that's great for them is that the temperatures, at least, you know, Sepang, they know the bike in the really hot temperatures. They know how it's going to feel. That's where they've been selected and where they've tested. So the desert heat isn't too much of a shocker, and less humidity.
Absolutely. Well, desert heat may not be too much of an issue, but you can see out there's a lot of dust around. That sandstorm has been all around. It's a little bit gloomy outside. It's making the sun a lot less bright as well, which will help them. But yeah, I hope they've been keeping up with the training, because these conditions are going to test them to their absolute limits.
Yeah, definitely. And someone's got their hand up there.
No, I think he's just waving the other riders through. Didn't want to get in their way.
Doing perhaps a bit of a stoner, maybe. Rolling through laps.
He's just gone to see his mate. He's like, hey, how's it going? Good luck, buddy.
I'm not sure that's overly friendly. I think if you did that to me, I wouldn't imagine that you were trying to make friends.
Yeah, well, you know, some people like to think positively, Fran, and some other people like to think negatively, apparently.
You know, I think...
Are you telling me Remy Gardner earlier wasn't trying to tell Simone Corsi that he's number 1?
Well, of course he was, of course.
Here we go. As you just saw the graphics on your screen, very, very hot indeed out there. Obviously number 19 there, exceeding track limits on the warm-up, but that's okay. Don't be doing that in the race, though. Otherwise, you'll be finding yourself with a little penalisation, or at least a talking to from the race direction.
Definitely. That's one of the things that these guys will have to get used to now they're in a competition like the ATC.
You mean staying on the track?
Well, I mean more the penalties should they not.
Yeah.
You know, you can't take your own liberties here. There's strict rules. You gotta definitely play by that book.
Just saw you on your screen there, number 9, not number 9. The other guy coming around the corner, absolute stone grey helmet. That was bog standard, off-the-shelf helmet design. That was cracking. I love that. Very old school, very classic. On board with Haruki Noguchi, the favourite indeed coming into this first race, you could argue, but this is Asia Talent Cup. This is Qatar with the monster straight Slipstream City. It's going to be wild. The wild, wild west, or wild, wild east, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think wrong direction, but we'll go with the idea.
Absolutely lining up. Well, he does actually get to Agung Fakrul does actually get to line up first on the grid. They didn't make him start from pit lane. Thank goodness for that. Maybe I got a little bit overexcited. Oh no, he's weaving himself.
He's at the
he's
back,
actually at the back of the grid.
Yes, so
just watching him down from our commentary position, looking a little bit confused.
Could have been better. But could have been a lot worse, I think, there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, just getting the slipstream tuck in. A bit of a disaster start for him, but let's see how he gets on. The marshal is walking off the grid with the red flag, green flag waving at the back. We're ready to go racing here. The red lights are on, and they go out for the first time in 2018. The Asia Talent Cup go! 14 laps to go. Number 7 up there takes the whole shot. Mario Aji.
So yeah, starting from de facto pole, he really converted that, but Noguchi already trying to take the early lead, and it looks like he's got it. Getting pretty close around there, but Noguchi's got it. That's not what the other guys want. If he's probably got the superior pace, he'll want to start escaping, so they'll have to stay close.
But this is ATC, Fran, and you know these guys aren't going to go there. But you've got a faller down there in the gravel. He's probably distraught with himself, but fortunately just about getting up. Didn't get a look at the number there, so sorry, can't tell you who that is until the graphic comes up on our screen. You have Noguchi from Aji, Van Erd, great stuff from him given his difficult weekend so far. Putra Boasi, Sender and Mananada 7th.
Mananda, so what were you saying about my pronunciation earlier?
Hey, oh dear, that was the, oh my word, that was ambition outweighed talent on that break in there.
I think definitely that was a bit of a Phillip Island Iannone trying to take a few too many.
Well, okay, well he's got his just desserts for trying to outbreak the entire field in one corner, and he's at the back of the crew right now. Number 17, who was that? That was Nitipong Sangsuang. That was wow. My heart rate's going pretty high right now.
Yeah, luckily it's pretty good considering how many rookies are in the field. We've had a fairly incident-free start to the race. I had a few little, not spills, but you know, a bit of shuffling around, but nothing too disastrous for these guys. And as you can see, these two are really pedal to the metal. Well, not quite in bike racing, but you know, it's a good race.
Yeah, long. I think the word you're looking for is keeping it absolutely pinned. Cut the curve there a little bit on. Okay, there's the track limits.
Definitely.
We'll see if anything occurs from that. Number 19, Bill Van Erd.
They'll have to be careful not to repeat that. You can, you know, if you make a genuine mistake and you don't gain from it, that's not a problem. I was actually in the briefing for the MotoGP riders on this on Thursday. It's not a problem if you make a mistake and that naturally penalises you. That's okay. But if you do it, either you gain from it or you end up doing it on purpose and trying to take those liberties, that's when they really want to make sure that you don't get away with it.
Number 4, Alfreda Munandar coming up the inside. Out of the slipstream, but I think Van Erd got him back. Impressive stuff as we come back down into turn 1. That's lap 1 completed. Noguchi in first, holding steady ahead of Mario Aji.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Noguchi deals with this and whether he's come into this season really feeling like the favourite or not, because it might be a bit of a surprise for him after he was almost champion last year, that immediately he's got Indonesian Mario Aji right with him in this race and really threatening. Looks perfectly fine, doesn't look like it's really costing him that much to stay there, and these two have got a good gap, so it could well come down to a duel. Absolutely.
Well, they are pulling out, they are pulling out a little bit of a gap here. It's a long, long race to go, 13 laps and over 2 minutes per lap. That is a long time for anything can happen. Anything can happen in the Asia Talent Cup.
Yeah, if you look at how long the MotoGP race is and then you look at the lap count for ATC, you're like, wow, okay, this is it's going to be a really quick race, but obviously these guys, it takes them a lot longer to get around there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, here we go. Bill Van Erd just in the background there, still holding steady in 4th.
Good little battle there, good little battle, and looks like we're going to get a good battle at the front. It'll be interesting to see what Aji does, whether he wants to try and lead himself and overtake and have a crack at it, but he probably is perfectly aware that he doesn't have much chance of getting away. They've got pretty comparable pace so far, and slipstream down the main straight, like you've mentioned, it's over 1 kilometre here in Qatar. So you really have to make sure that you've broken away and really made that stick.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, you're going to get slipstreamed all the way to the line. That's how most of the riders do it. The Moto3 particularly looking forward to that race this weekend as well. Photo finishes galore there in
Definitely. Obviously, the slipstream, I think the best example, if everyone's not really sure how much of a difference it could make. Mugello last year in Moto3, 25, 26 riders down the main straight, all fighting for first, pretty much. Battle for first, 25 deep.
Yep, exactly. I guess the Asia Talent Cup for that reason. With we have who's that running wide there? Was that number 4? That was Munandar going pretty wide there, losing out to number 3 and number 10 there.
Yeah, just overcooked it a little bit. And then Aji's put in the fastest lap now, and he has made a bit of a play for it, but nope, not going to make it stick. but he was ahead over the line.
Yeah.
So that could be interesting come the last lap.
I do like his style, very bum off the seat, very neat, almost old 125, 250 style, quite classical that.
A little bit, yeah.
Elbow down style you got there from Aji in number 7. He's really looking for a way past though, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He's really doesn't seem, I mean, obviously he tried it then, but you'd think if he's, you know, trying to figure out what's going to happen on the last lap, whether he's got time, whether he'll be ahead by the line, 12 laps to go, it's not really what you need to be thinking about yet. So maybe he is thinking, okay, I've seen your pace, I think I've got a bit more.
Yeah.
And wants to give it a crack himself.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's a long race. You know, if you think you can get away with it, go for it. But if not, it's probably the more sensible move just to sit behind and see how it goes. Really. Here's number 22, Agung Fakhrul, the pole sitter, but not quite. Starting from the back of the grid, but he's made some pretty good inroads up to 7th.
He really has, yeah. Pole sitter, not starter, maybe is the the phrase. But yeah, that's really impressive. Obviously, being at the back as well, he'll have more slipstream with more in front of him, which will help him a bit. But that is some seriously good progress, and it's great. He's obviously kept his head. Bit of a unexpected start to his ATC campaign. So yeah, stayed calm, got his head down, and now up into 7th. Pretty good stuff. Yeah,
look at the gap these two have pulled out the front already. This is quite uncharacteristic of the Asia Talent Cup, but fair dues to these guys. Going to be putting on a great duel all the way to the end, it seems. Well, we hope so anyways. 12 laps to go. Van Erden just moves up to 3rd as well. We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, it's a good little group kind of fighting over 3rd, but also, you know, there's quite a few of them quite close there. Not too big a gap there. But these guys, yeah, they're really starting to check out now.
Absolutely. As we come into the final turn again, we do have Aji just behind Noguchi. Going to tuck in for the slipstream once again. It looks as though he got a bit of a better drive out of the final corner there, pulling alongside him.
And again, he looks like he's going to be just past before the line. Have to see what the timing screen tells. Yeah, again. Ooh, almost dead heat, it looks like, from the graphics. The dead heat has broken the graphics.
Too much heat in this race for the graphics. There we go. He has maintained the position in the first. Good stuff. He's clearly learned from his mistake last time round. Yeah,
obviously, maybe that's what he wants. Like we were saying, well, it'd be interesting to see what he's got now and if he can start to pull away. Or if, as well, he's just thinking, you know, there's no need to sit here the whole time. You know, it's always good to try some moves, check what works, check what doesn't. If you know... Seems pretty cool customer, you know, in the lead first race. So yeah, you obviously feeling pretty confident and taking it to the guy that pretty much everyone's got down as their favourite for this season.
Absolutely, but look at this. Look at the guy who's just gone up to 3rd place. Fakhrul from the back of the grid, already up to 3rd. He is not hanging around at all. He's going to be hunting down the top 2 already. And hey, tell you what, he could well take the whole other crew with him.
This could be a Brad Binder Jerez, maybe. That's what he's gunning for.
Brad Binder Jerez, maybe.
Hurricane Binder.
Let's get a replay of the start there. Nobody on pole position. Number 21 can just fire it straight forward, not have to worry about anything else. That first corner, I cannot imagine being in something like that. Absolutely, there's some rough moves towards the back. A little bit of bumper cars going on there.
Especially when there's so many rookies, I think they did a super job.
There we go, that was the replay of the crash. Benjamin Baker down in the gravel.
Benjamin Baker, yeah, don't be confused by the entry list when you say B. Baker. It's not Brad the Bullet Baker doing some JD Beach style interdisciplinary racing.
For us, those American flat track viewers tuning in.
Of course, I've heard that we've got a big audience from American flat track.
Yeah, Benjamin Baker clearly absolutely distraught with himself. That's not how you want to start the season, obviously, but... You know, it's a long road ahead with the championship, but I guess that is absolutely not the way you want to be starting.
The best thing about the ATC, though, and a lot of the championships where you have 2 races, is that you have a second chance. So at least, you know, he doesn't have to come to Qatar, leave completely empty-handed after, you know, the first few corners. There's another race tomorrow, so he has another chance to you know, go home after the first weekend at least with something really, you know, gained and put together, and hopefully a better result tomorrow.
Everyone deserves a second chance, Francis.
Well, definitely. This is the joy, you know. This is what Nicky Hayden's favourite thing about Superbike, was that race 1, great. Everyone loves racing, Nicky Hayden more than most. And race 2, you get a whole nother shot to do another whole race the same weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, it's great for the ATC guys as well. And here, the 2 races are at quite different times of day, so that could be interesting tomorrow. Yeah, you might find a lot of the riders in the other classes as well saying how different this track is in the daytime compared to nighttime. Completely different. They might as well jet off and race somewhere else. It's that different. So we will see
how we get on. Fackrell obviously been absolutely mugged on the last lap, back down into 7th again, but he won't be worrying about that too much. He'll just be keen to get back on to the front of that 3rd place battle group. Meanwhile, back at the front.
Dead heat. Think it's going to go down to the wire.
10 laps to go. I surely hope so. Otherwise, it's going to be a long 10 laps.
Definitely. I think, I think these guys look like they're definitely going to duel it out for it. I have to see. Obviously, mistakes is the thing that could prevent that. But it looks like they've got fairly comparable pace now. They'll both be settled into a rhythm and know what they're doing. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it should be a good finish between these guys.
You really don't want to be making mistakes this early on. This may be pretty much the very start of the road to MotoGP for this guys. But even at this level, you cannot be affording to make mistakes like that. Really, you can learn from them, but you don't want to be doing them because there will be someone who are all fully capable of just absolutely rinsing you for it.
There's that, but obviously I think the key thing for these guys is they don't want to be taking the kinds of risks that then lose them opportunities to either score points or show what they can do, but they also don't want to play it too safe because they are essentially showcasing their talent and trying to tell people, the world, you know, whoever is on the next few rungs of the road to MotoGP, why these guys should get the chance over someone else. You know, it's a competitive field. There's a lot of these guys, and they can obviously see from the incredible record that the ATC has of creating talent that there really is a tangible route straight to MotoGP. You know, you've got Sasaki, Norodin, Kaito Toba, all these guys, former champions or competitors in this series, and they're now in Moto3. And point scorers, and Sasaki, Rookie of the Year. I'm sorry, pronunciation. You say it's it's key.
Even just the English language is just a problem for you, isn't it?
Evidently, it really is. I think maybe my job title might have to change. But yeah, so Sasaki, obviously Rookie of the Year last year in Moto3 as well. So you know, these guys arrive, and this is a great school for them to both showcase their talent and add to it with a lot of experience.
Exactly. You never know who might be watching the ATC race. You got Marquez and Rossi here. They're picking their heads out on pit wall, watching these guys go down the front straight, thinking, hey, that kid's fast. Van Erd, speaking of which, fastest lap for him, 2 minute 14. That is actually quicker than they went qualifying.
Yeah, it's obviously it's a bit cooler now, so that's probably playing quite a big role in what was. Ooh, that was quite a fast dive down there, but all good. Not quite the heroics of earlier.
No, absolutely not. You can't win it with 9 laps to go, but you can definitely lose it. Let's be careful with that. The graphic on the screen just showing us the tight battle between Aji and Noguchi here, raging on. Are they pulling out a gap, Fran? I don't think it's changing all that much. 4 seconds between them and the in the pursuing group.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously the pursuing group, though, they have a bit. I mean, 4 seconds is quite a lot. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to catch them unless something happens ahead of them. But at the end of the day as well, as long as they're all fighting each other, they're losing out.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
well,
you know,
we can see in the graphic there, they've been reeling them in steadily. 3/10 they managed to crawl in on the first couple of sectors, but just losing out a little bit more in the 3rd sector. Nishimura leading the charge, chasing these guys down.
Yeah, so Nishimura, he was just off the front row, really, just off the front row in qualifying, but obviously he had great pace in testing, and he's one of the guys really expected to challenge. So yeah, I mean, based on testing, obviously Noguchi was the favourite, and there's, like I said earlier, there's a lot of Indonesians. Japan is the only nation with a few more, but it's yeah, it's going to be interesting how they change throughout the season as they get more and more experience on these bikes. But Nishimura, yeah, making a bit of a play now in that battle.
Absolutely, as we can see, nearly overly ambitious move from Fackrell there. Just taking a quick look at the inside, see if he can make it through down into turn 1.
Well, he'll be flying pretty high at the moment after having come from the back of the grid and in the same kind of group.
You reckon so? I wonder if he could be the opposite with being absolutely miffed with himself from having to start back there in the first place.
True, that I think maybe there's a combination of possible emotions there, which is pure frustration and anger, absolute euphoria at the progress he's made so far, or he maybe just thinks that if he could just get past these, he's going to gain 4 seconds in a lap and win it by a mile.
Yeah, well, I mean, entirely possible. This is the Asia Talent Cup, after all.
Yeah, it looks like Nishimura is just starting to pull away from those guys now. And Munanda as well. They seem to have just kind of broken that a little bit, and now this 3-rider scrap just behind them is a bit of a closer group.
Absolutely. Yeah, there we go. The graphics on the screen showing us where Frankel was on the grid first. Unfortunately, he started last, but now back up to 7th.
Yeah,
place.
it looks like he was in 11th on the first lap, so obviously did a bit of a Marquez Valencia Moto2 and just pinned it off the line, made a bit of progress, and then the rest of it he's had to do kind of lap by lap, stalking and picking people off. But it's really impressive progress, that, and he'll obviously also have a boost of confidence from having taken pole position, although not enjoyed pole position.
Absolutely, yeah. He gets to say, I was on pole for the first race of the year.
Exactly. This is the thing in the stats. If you took the pole, doesn't technically matter whether you had it or not.
No one reads the small print anyways, Frank.
Exactly, you know.
Exactly. So 8 laps to go then. These guys battling it out. It does look as though Nishimura is actually catching them big time now, isn't it? He's shrinking the gap. That's still 4 seconds, but he's definitely pulled out a big lead over everybody else.
Yeah, definitely. He's about half a second at the last split ahead of the guy behind him, and then there's another 6/10. So these guys are kind of, as we're sort of now, you know, getting through the laps and the rhythm settling in. They're
Look at the slipstream these guys will be getting. Wow.
Exactly. So Mananda not quite able to break away yet, but it looks like Nishimura is gone.
I'll tell you what, just these number 16 and number 4, they're just trying to be extra helpful with identification by wearing the same helmet. That's going to make it a lot easier for our jobs, isn't it?
This can be a problem. This definitely can be a problem with the ATC. Obviously, pretty much everything's equal in this cup, but that does make a commentator's life rather more difficult at times.
Hey, it shows that the guy who does the best wins.
Exactly.
Most talent, most consistent, one who handles all the conditions the best racecraft. He's the one who gets it. That's the beauty of this championship.
You're trying to say there that helmet design can have a significant effect on the results of your racing, or?
Of course, yeah. You can't, you know, you got to have an expressive helmet design, and of course that really makes you win. And carrying on with these hands to the front, Noguchi still holds firm. These guys are just swapping positions a couple of times every lap. It's almost as if they're testing each other. Where is he faster over this part of the circuit? Where am I faster? Where can I get him? If I'm leading into the final corner, is he going to get me there? Don't know.
Exactly. So obviously, we've not really had the camera on these guys for the last few laps to see if Noguchi has also checked out the final corner, who's ahead over the line. But yeah, they've not been split by more than a tenth pretty much since they set off in the head of the race and started to make that gap.
They joined it.
So incredibly close.
Yeah, we do have another rider into 6th place now. Let's do some more movement on the timing screens. Just as we see these guys coming round to sort of finish lap 7. A look round there from Noguchi, just to see where he is.
Yeah, I think if he tries that a few too many times, he won't have anything to see, because they'll be past him.
Let's looking around behind you, son. Just worry about what's ahead of you. If he ain't ahead of you,
definitely.
don't worry about him. Just do what you got to do. Nothing you can do about him trying to overtake you by looking behind. But maybe he needs some mirrors. Here we go then.
Tucked in. You see here, Noguchi not even really actually tucked in behind Aji there.
Yeah, it's almost as if he's actually trying to play a game with him. Not too bothered, is he? Oh, over the line there. The graphics weren't really sure who was top.
As we saw before, Aji, when he went past him, got a really good exit, so much that he really pulled out very quickly out of the slipstream and was able to get past. So Noguchi there, he now was ahead over the line.
I tell you what, Nishimura, he's coming up behind him.
He is. He's cut about a second off it there.
Yeah.
So, you know, with 6 laps to go, it doesn't sound like much, but that's actually quite a lot of race distance.
Yeah, 12 minutes. 12 minutes to catch these guys. And tell you what, that would be one hell of a story, wouldn't it?
It would. And, you know, people always say, you know, testing can't tell you everything. You know, you've got to... It's not all about the testing timesheets, but if we had Noguchi, Aji and Nishimura on the podium in that order, testing told us everything.
Well, there you go. Exactly. Sometimes you can read into it, but... yeah, no one ever won anything in testing, and it's still got to get through these final 6 laps.
Definitely, and obviously Nishimura's had to do a lot more work to get there. The guys at the front, they've not just been in line, heading off into the distance, but they've been in a steady rhythm, you know, taking it, not steady in terms of pace, but there's been nothing too crazy. Nishimura's battled it out to get to where he is.
I'll tell you what, Fran, have you seen his helmet design? I think I know why he's up there now.
Why is that?
Because he's got a great helmet design.
Okay, yeah, of course. Sorry, yes, you're...
you should know this by now, Fran.
I'm sorry, your incredible theory that's definitely completely and utterly true, as I am completely not sarcastic.
Absolutely. Now that leaves the following group behind. They're a little bit more split up, less brutal moves every corner between these guys. It's almost as if they've got sensible heads on and actually trying to work together to try and catch these guys.
This is one of the key things, though, for these guys. It's not just about, oh, you know, going into a selection event, testing, whatever, and showing that you can do whatever lap time. It's a combination of different things, and these guys showing that it's quality racing. They're not doing anything too crazy. Obviously, there's a few moments those, you know, get ironed out with experience, and like I said, there's pressure to impress. So there's always going to be those little niggles, and some people, you know, make a mistake or there'll be incidents. But these guys, it's some quality racing.
Absolutely.
And it's, yeah, they're doing a pretty good job of keeping it legal and clean, but definitely still pretty exciting.
There's an illegal maneuver. Absolutely, yes. Noguchi holds steady in first. Look at the difference between their riding styles. It's great. I know I brought it up earlier, but I do like it. I think we've got Aji behind, very neat, sort of very almost a bit Max Biaggi-esque, whereas Noguchi a bit different. I think he's a bit taller as well, isn't he?
Yeah, these guys are great. It makes for great pictures as well.
Absolutely.
It's just great. They look definitely, you know, if you change the liveries and tell people they're watching something else, you wouldn't necessarily assume they're the ATC leaders in the first race of the season and that one of them's a rookie. And
that they're on just the very beginning of the Road to MotoGP, doing the doctor's dangle there. Absolutely, not just a fashion trend.
I see you're setting this up as a Biaggi versus Rossi ATC edition.
Hey, Fran, you know me too well. No, not quite. Not quite. The Biaggi and Rossi ATC showdown. 5 laps to go. With these guys out front still. Nishimura, is he catching them up again?
No, he's actually lost a bit, just under a tenth on that lap.
Just as Aji goes up the inside again.
Ooh, close, but very nicely done there.
We're riding on board with Noguchi, just behind Aji, seeing how much he can maybe catch us into this 3-corner flowing section up here. He's going up the inside trying to get him. He's not happy about him going in front of him. Maybe he's a bit worried he can get away.
Maybe, yeah, definitely made a move straight back there, didn't he?
Wasted absolutely no time at all.
But obviously that's kind of his default position so far. He's lost the lead a couple of times, but maybe if he feels comfortable in the lead, and now we're getting through the lap count, he wants to stay there. But
there we go, Aji up the inside again.
Obviously not going to give him the choice.
Nope, absolutely no chance. I'll tell you what, please, 5 more laps of this. This would be great. Oh. Yeah, he maintains it into the final corner, but how are they going to cope with the slipstream there?
If these guys start doing this as well and really getting each other's way, that might give Nishimura that extra few tenths he needs to remount that charge.
Yeah, or at least if he's seeing them two faffing about, he might be, you know, it's the greyhound hunting the rabbit. He's going to be hunting them down. Look at that. Well, a good quarter of the straight between these guys and the pack behind Nishimura. But there we are.
So yeah, the gaps stay pretty similar back to Nishimura, like less than a tenth again difference. But hey, yeah,
he's probably thinking podium's a good start to my season for them.
Podium's a very good start to the season because obviously, you know, if you look at the calendar for the ATC, there's 6 rounds, but each race, you know, is 25 points, 2 races per weekend. Those podiums become important. The consistency is important.
No one won the championship in the first race, but you definitely lost it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, for Noguchi, that's definitely probably true.
Yeah.
The last race at Sepang last year. But, you know, he came close, so he at least knows he's got a good shot at fighting for this, and now he's also knows exactly what he needs to do this year.
Exactly that. Now looking at the battle for 4th, Fackrell is back in front after a little spell down in 7th. Good stuff from him.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. You know, he's not faded, even though he's really put in that charge. He's right up there still in this battle, and who knows if that could become the podium battle, depending on what happens ahead.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's not just the difference between 4th, 5th, 6th.
Oh, there we go. Oh, that was very close from Aji, moving up into first left-hander. Oh, my. Sorry to interrupt you there, Fran. Absolutely.
That's okay.
One more point about Fackrell, though, is these guys going head-to-head again. Let's see what he can do tomorrow with a proper start, just as Noguchi goes back up the inside again. That was a pretty solid move there. High corner speed from him.
Yeah, definitely. It's it's great to see these guys battling it out. Obviously, Noguchi really doesn't want to be the guy behind, does he?
No, totally not. He's not comfortable with that at all. He definitely prefers to lead. Wondering what his little strategy is here. Coming down to the final corner, is Aji going to make another move on him? It definitely looks like he is. He's looking up the inside, but no. slams the door shut.
Definitely. I think it'd be interesting to see now who's ahead over the line out of that final corner.
Yeah.
So yeah, amazing.
Now that is absolutely neck and neck, head to toe. Just going through our commentary position now.
It really is head to head, but I think Aji is going to be ahead over the line. No, it wasn't. It was Noguchi.
Noguchi, but Aji's got him on the inside.
And he got very good drive at the final corner there.
But Noguchi is solid on the brakes. Showing his experience there, isn't he?
Definitely. So we've got 3 laps to go now. Looks like hopefully this will go to the end, but they need to be careful they don't do any crazy stuff
no
before
overly ambitious
really
overtakes, Francis.
Indeed. They need to be careful they don't kind of run out of energy for the end of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, look who's coming up behind them again. That gap is significantly closed. It's just under 3 seconds now. That's not far at all.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, they have the chance to really mess this up for themselves, which will probably also be something they're perfectly aware of. They'll know that it's them too, and they're dueling for the win, and they'll know where they've got a bit of space, but they won't want to really trip each other up too much.
Exactly. All right. Whoever wins this also gets the bragging rights for tomorrow, and that little confidence boost, just knowing it's the first round of the season, race 2, and they've already got a win under their belt.
Exactly, and as well, because it's so soon to the World SBK Thai round, which is next weekend at Buriram.
Oh, here we go. Aji up the inside again. That was a neat and tidy move, wasn't it?
But yeah, it's great.
I'm watching the ATC because this seems a bit less ruthless than I was expecting, Fran.
Yeah, it's some really great moves between these guys. Really clean, decisive, you know, racing here.
Noguchi up the inside again. Tell you what, Fran, we actually have something right here. He's definitely not happy with him being in front, is he?
I don't think he is, you know. There's
absolutely no waiting for him to see how it pans out with 3 laps to go. No time to waste.
He's been a bit Laguna Seca 2008, I think, is the tactic here.
Are you saying this is a Rossi and Stoner ATC
well,
showdown instead?
Maybe, you know, I think they can stand on their own here. Noguchi versus Aji. Maybe in the future this will be a vintage rivalry.
This would be absolutely class, wouldn't it? Moving up to Moto3 or something like that in the very near future, seeing these two battle it out as well. This is absolutely class. Level-headed, going down the straight again. Just a little bit time to rest for them, to take a deep breath. They're fortunately still growing boys, so you know, they don't have to be tensing too much to get in behind the bubble. Is Aji going to get him on the brakes? He's not. Fortunately, the finish line isn't after turn 1.
Exactly,
so,
yeah.
He doesn't have to worry about that too much. Just make sure Noguchi doesn't get too far away from him, because Noguchi does have the upper hand into that turn 1. He has pulled out a little, just a few bike lengths there. I think Aji's he's not letting him get away too much, that's for sure. 2 laps to go. Let's see how we carry on here.
So yeah, Nishimura is now under 3 seconds, so it's about 2.9 last time. So he's gained a couple of tenths on where he was hovering before. But
absolutely,
but yeah, it looks like he's going to take that final podium place unless something else happens. But
I think the camera angle on that other corner fooled me a little bit earlier when I said he's catching them. I'm a rookie as well, so forgive me for that one. Here we are, Aji looking up the inside again from Noguchi. I wonder if Noguchi can actually sense him there whenever he's looking up the inside.
I'm sure he can. I'm sure he'll be able to hear it.
Or is that something you actually have to hone as a rider? I mean, none of us can really tell that for sure.
I'm not sure if racing can significantly increase your sense of hearing. If anything, maybe the opposite.
No, but it's more like sense of awareness of things around you. But Aji has moved up the inside. We just missed our cameras, but yeah, and I bet you he's going to take him straight back, isn't he, Noguchi? He's not going to let him.
Don't know if he's going to get a chance
here.
No. So Noguchi keeping it nice and.
Look at this onboard footage. This is good. What
yeah,
a class
it's great,
riding style he's got.
it?
I love that riding style. Right on his tail, nearly touching wheels. As we see, with 2 laps to go, just one. Well, the penultimate lap here, coming into this penultimate turn. Is he going to go up the inside to get him here? Let's see.
I have a feeling he may, but we'll have to see. No,
he's going to try and slipstream him, isn't he?
I think he might do. So obviously he's shown he's really strong on the brakes into turn 1 so far. So he'll be hoping to play that ace first and then see what else he needs on the final lap, I think.
Absolutely. Here he goes out, pulls out the slipstream just ahead of him, but is he going to get him back? Let's see. It's looking quite gloomy and dark, isn't it?
I think it may be
the dust in the air.
And maybe I think it may also be
our TV
what
screen.
we're looking through, yes, both our window and the screen.
It is getting darker as well, but yeah, Noguchi does maintain first position out of turn 1. So the final lap here of the first race of the 2018 Asia Talent Cup. And if we've got ourselves a showdown between Noguchi and Aji, this is going to be great. He's already looking round about the outside there.
It'll be interesting to see whether he waits and he's confident, or it doesn't look like he's going to wait. Oh, yeah.
Hey, this is Aji, and what we've learned about him over the last 10 or so laps, he ain't going to wait. He's going to go for it whenever he can.
But, you know, obviously, if you're ahead, coming round to those final few corners, you're the guy with the target on your back.
Exactly,
so.
But he's not going to overtake there. He's a bit too far back there, but Noguchi's gone wide. That will have given Aji a bit of confidence there. He's managed to stand it up and get it fired out the turn. Is he going to... No, he's still not far enough there. Noguchi had a bit of a better drive coming out that corner.
Yeah, Noguchi gathered it up well there, and obviously not quite enough space to cleanly get past despite him going wide.
Wonderful flowing section here, though. He's got to. No, you're not going to overtake here, so you've got to just be careful. Well, you can overtake it here if he had lined it up correctly, but no, Aji's holding firm just in second behind him. What is going to happen in towards this last corner? There's got to be some wild move in the last corner. Nishimura might win this yet. The luck of the extraordinary helmet.
Yeah, obviously he'll be watching pretty interestedly what's happening ahead of him. Is that a word, interestedly? I'm not actually overly sure.
Meanwhile, Manundar has headed up into 4th, but how long that lasts, we shall find out. But here it looks like we're coming up to the penultimate turn. Aji's not going to get up the inside here. He's going to have to line him up into the final corner. Little twitch out there. I think he could be a bit too far away, but that's a long straight and he's still get a slipstream. In final corner, he's not making a move here. He is quite far back. Fran, is he going to do it?
I think he might do it. He's had good drive out of this final corner.
Let's see if it's a photo finish. We're going to have a photo finish in the first race. He's pulled out the slipstream. Is he going to get him? Oh, they're so close together. I just had to put my hands over my mouth. And Noguchi's got the win. Oh, that was close.
So close. Almost contact there. Almost contact. Absolutely neck and neck, very interfering.
Nishimura takes third ahead of a gaggle of riders in from 4th to 8th. Unfortunately, the poleman Fackrell did come out in 8th place. He was that was Sanswing who's taken 4th place. But
no, sorry, it's Sender.
Sender. Oh, that's my bad. That's the that's me reading the wrong thing. But anyways, Haruki Noguchi takes the win from Aji, and hey, that's good to see.
Definitely, that's nice, always good to see. It was a very good fight, absolute vintage. You know, if that wasn't in the ATC, that would have been an absolute all-time classic. And you know, that was a really good ride from both of them. I think it'll be interesting to see if we get a repeat of that tomorrow, or if Poleman will actually start from pole and see if he can stay with their pace and really get involved in that fight. And Nishimura too, if he can get off the line cleaner. Absolutely.
Fackrell there just also congratulating Aji on his win. Just asking him there, where did you finish, mate? First.
Yes, so what we actually have is exactly what we had in testing, like I say.
Well, there you go,
Noguchi, Aji, Nishimura.
Fran, ATC expert, based on testing.
Well,
testing tells you everything.
It really doesn't in any way, but this time it's a nice little extra stat to open the season. But I think Noguchi will probably almost be a little bit relieved with that. Obviously, he comes into it as like the guy who's, you know, anointed as the next one, and I think he'll be pretty relieved to get those first points on the board and for it to be a win. Obviously didn't make any big mistakes there, kept his cool, great racing, and great first win. And then Aji though, he'll also be feeling pretty confident after that and be raring to go tomorrow and switch that result around.
Absolutely, for sure. And taking nothing away from Sho Nishimura, great ride from him today. 3rd place, didn't quite see that coming, gave a valiant effort trying to catch down the front duo, but all in vain, unfortunately. But I guess he was probably playing it a bit more sensible, thinking, got 3rd wrapped up, mate, this is mine. Here we are, going to get a replay of the final corner and that finish. What a finish it was. Just to start off the season, my heart was absolutely racing. Commentary mistake 101 is put your hands over your mouth because you're so shocked at them two did it, just blocking the microphone so you can't hear it. Look at that contact. That is why they have front brake lever guards to make sure there's no real contact on the front. Look at that.
Incredibly close,
what a finish. What was the actual gap there? 0.034 seconds. Excellent.
Yeah, and they really pulled out from Nishimura on the final lap there. It was 5.1 Well, 5.2 off the lead over the line.
Not sure if you just saw it there on that on the replay, but that awkward moment when you go for the fist bump and then someone just grabs your hand.
Oh no, heartbreak.
Noguchi.
Heartbreak. It's like a Christmas office party in the ATC.
I went for the fist bump, bro. He said, what are you doing? Great, a great race. That was absolutely excellent. Great stuff from the Japanese rider. Of course, he, as we were talking about earlier, he has also someone to look up to now in the Premier class, also on the similarly liveried bike, Takaki Nakagami.
Yeah, obviously share the sponsor Idemitsu.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
so
yeah, it'd be great to see what Takaki Nakagami can do, because he was fastest rookie through a lot of MotoGP testing, and then he has taken that back so far.
Absolutely.
Consistently, and as the Qatar GP's got underway. But yeah, it's great for these guys because there's now representatives from the ATC and the FAM Sev Repsol in Moto3, and then you've got same like presence in Moto2 as well, and then Nakagami as well, completing that sort of, you know, it's great for these guys to have an example, you know.
Absolutely.
Because not everyone's born as you know, kind of racing from an early age as just part of the family, or you know, if you're not lucky enough to be born into a family where they all race already, you know, maybe you don't think it's that possible. Maybe it seems like something really abstract.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, when you've got that example, someone just like you doing it, MotoGP, best race series in the world, you know that you can do it too, maybe one day.
Exactly. Now there is Noguchi celebrating Sora Mario Aji, Super Mario he's nicknamed in Indonesia, tipped to be a rising star of the sport, but hey, he didn't quite get the better of Noguchi today.
Yeah, it's really impressive for him as well, because he's only 13. So he's a real youngster in this field. I know the other two guys 16, something a little more acceptable
how
for
to
us.
How to make you feel depressed, 24 and this kid's 13, and to produce some race finishes like that. Blimey, what a kid, eh?
I think your colleagues Steve Day and Matt Burt would be fairly depressed that you're only 24.
You mean those guys just behind me? But there's the result sheet. Noguchi takes it from Aji, Nishimura, Senda, Putra, Mananda, Bill Van Erd. Good finish for him in the end, still in that front group. Behind them, we have Boasi, Saliu, Paui, Aegeus, Yamada, Alberto, Kyuchi, and bringing out the rear, Hendrianza. Not a bad race finisher, and only two non-finishers.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be heartbreaking for Benjamin Baker. He'll be hoping to make it a bit further in the race tomorrow. But yes,
absolutely.
Great opening race in there for the ATC.
Totally.
So obviously championship pretty much follows the results of the race, as you know. So Noguchi, early lead after coming into it as the favourite. He does get that first 25 points on the board. And then Aji, Nishimura, Sendra, Putra, Munanda, Van Erde. I'm not sure. I think we need to check that
we'll go ask him, shall we?
there. We shall indeed.
Maybe we should ask the whole grid about pronunciation.
And then Troy Alberto from the Philippines taking that first point as his ATC career begins.
Excellent. What a day. And tell you what, best thing is, there's even more tomorrow.
Definitely. First race of the weekend gone, but there's another ATC race and Moto3, Moto2, Moto3.
We'll see you tomorrow. What a race from the ATC, round 1 in Qatar.